Check, 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 check. All right, what's going on, Lurch? How you doing, brother? I gotta go back and reset my microphone because it's a bit off. I switched computers, but so it may be a little loud. You may get a little background noise, but we'll deal with it. Hey, 212 Madness, how are you, brother? All right, out from Canton, Ohio. Awesome. All right, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, I got to do some tweaking on the microphone to try and get rid of some of the background noise, but I'll work on that later. All right, we're gonna run the same kind of deal we run every week. We're just gonna leave the chat open. I'm gonna ramble on about something and let you guys come in with your questions, and we'll kind of go from there. But the last, if you watch the last video, hey, Shake and Bake's doing her thing. It was super hot last week. The DA was terrible. The humidity was terrible. The grains were terrible. It was just a bad day to go racing. But we always take Shake and Bake out and do what we do. Wasn't expecting any good times just because I knew the weather was bad. But it's fun to go out there, hit the track with the fellas, and just hang out. Oh gosh, man, how'd you blow up Christine? That's terrible. Yeah, but Shake and Bake's running well. But man, I always hate to hear someone blowing something up or something going wrong with somebody, and uh, I really hate to hear that, man. All right, stocks 5.7 manual, 14.7 at 97. That's not bad, brother. As you get more and more comfortable getting off the line in that stick shift, that time will drop some more. I promise you. That's the thing with the stick shift car, man. It's a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. I love a stick car. Love banging gears. But when it comes to the track and getting down the quarter mile, man, it's a whole different ball game when you talk about a stick shift car. Going down the quarter mile and trying to get those quick times. You got the hand foot coordination, the hand eye foot coordination. It's yeah, it's tough. It really is, but a lot of fun, man. Like as I think I've said this in a few videos. If I would have bought Shake and Bake to be just a weekend driver, I probably would have bought a stick car. But at the time, I bought Shake and Bake to be my daily driver. So, and being here in the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area, with the traffic the way it is, I just didn't want to have to deal with that much shifting, banging through the banging through the gears, because it'd be rough, with the traffic around here. So that's why I went with an automatic back then. And I've said this before. Back then, I wasn't into the race scene, wasn't into the car scene at all. But then it just kind of grew into that. But we're up to 7 folks. Uh, Mike, man, brother. I was like, what video am I gonna throw up there tonight? You know what? When I did the first Hellbee video, that was about 30 minutes, so I don't have to worry about switching videos as much. I'll let it run for 30 minutes. Two 260 foot, not bad, not bad. It definitely can be better. Can be better. No spin, stock 440, 240. Oh, nice, nice. 390 LSD. I got you, Madness. Hey, that's pretty good. Not spinning those 245s on street tires. That's hard to do. How you doing, Bruce, brother? We're doing well, man. We're doing well. Hanging out here, just rambling on until we get somebody with a question, an issue, or something we can really deep dive into. This has worked for the first 3 that we've done. Just leaving it open chat. Wait for someone to pop in a good topic in the chat, and then we'll go from there. Oh, excuse me. Ay ay ay. Best cam for a 5.7. Here's the deal. You're gonna get with that question. You're gonna get opinion from everybody. But to be honest, I love the 270. The 270 really has done me extremely well. I've heard people making possibly a little more power on the 274, which a lot of people will tell you the 270, 274 is too big for a 5.7. But I'm telling you, there's plenty of dyno videos out there where the 270 and the 274 make really good power, and it's just a stock. Yeah, Comcam 270. There comes Mike. Yeah, I mean it's been awesome for me. I've had no issues, no concerns. Runs good, makes great power. I would just go with the Comcam 270. Some of these custom grind cams you're going to pay more money for, and you're probably not going to get, if anything, out of performance wise, better than the 270. My opinion, and Mike probably has some facts to back that up. But it's sometimes when it comes to cams, it's just onesie twosies you're going to get out of it. So what size stall with the 270? Mike says stock stall. Mine stalls at right around 36, I believe. AAPG, what's going on, brother? Mine stall. I got a 3600 stall, which is going to be interesting. All right, I'm actually glad you asked that question, because here's what's going to happen when we go to the HP90. We're going from a 3600 stall to Mike quote me 2900 for the demon converter that's in the red eye transmission. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen to my 60 foot when we do go with the HP90 with the demon converter. And again, this one's out of a used red eye. So it's going to be interesting to see. So that stall question, hold that for a couple weeks until we get it dialed in a little bit, and that'll be a good question, because it's going to be a good comparison, from the HP70 with a high stall torque converter to a HP90 with a stockish torque converter. And Mike's right; it's all in the tuning as well. And yeah, it's all in the tuning. I'll just leave it at that. The Texas Speed Stage 4, I'm not a big proponent of this stages, to be honest. I mean, it's a custom grind cam. It is a custom grind cam, right? But, I haven't heard too much of the Texas Speed Stage 4. Texas Speed just came into the Hemi scene within the last probably year, maybe year and a half. So they're fairly new to the Hemi world. To be honest, I would either go with the 270 or look into some of the modern muscle extreme cams. Is what I would look into. Demon Bird 2350 stall. So we're going to be going from 3600 to 2350 stall in the 90s. So we'll see how that goes. I know I'm bouncing around. Also, with the A8s, need the rear gear to be any more than a 309. Yep, exactly. If you go back, oh gosh, probably maybe a year and a half, almost probably a year and a half, 2 years. I did a comparison of the 370 to the 309, and the 370 didn't really do anything for me in my setup. Really didn't do anything. The 309 was working as good, if not better, than the 370 when I put the 370 in there. So Mike nailed it there. Yeah, and yeah, Mike nailed it too. He was running 1.3s on that stock demon converter. So it'll be interesting to see what my car will do when we swap the transmission. It's going to be make for some good content, good video. Bruce, that's a good question. We all sort of suffer from that low end torque piece, um, but yeah, I'm not a professional. I'm not a cam spec guy. Mike can probably jump in here on the cam spec stuff and talk a little bit more about the cams and get into the deep end of it. But I mean, the 270, it's it's done me well. It's done me well. I am running 17s on the rear and the front. My go-to tire, I'll tell you, I love the Mickey Thompson ET Street R's. Um, I ran them for the last year or so until I just put on some Hoosier bias plies slicks on the rear, uh, and I've only been at Capital with them. So let me get to MIR and hopefully get some good prep. Cross my fingers. Prep is going downhill because the stuff for prep is getting less prevalent. There's not a lot of it out there, as there's becoming a shortage in prep stuff. But I do like the Mickey Thompson ET Street R's. Now there are a lot of people that are switching from Mickey Thompson ET Street R's to the Hoosier drag bracket radials, the DBRs, and having some success as well. So, I mean, with either one of those tires, you can't go wrong. Yep, and that's what I run, the 305, 45, 17s. Those are the ones I run. Yeah, Mike's a DBR guy now. He liked those Hoosiers. I may do a switch to those later when these slicks. The only reason I'm running these Hoosier slicks and the bias ply is that I bought them last year during the COVID just to have an extra set because I didn't know how long the Mickey Thompsons lasted me. Well, they lasted me a few weeks into this year, and I just recently switched over to those. Uh, and you're right, they're not DOT. So remember, if you do the Hoosier DBRs, they're not DOT. So you're not supposed to run them on the streets. The world's first 9-second Scat Pack charger on bags. I'll be at MIR soon. We'll see you there, big deal. We'll see you there, brother. Yeah, Bruce, you definitely definitely should have went with the 17s. The 20 is going to lower your effective gear ratio from 299 probably. I don't know. I'd be guessing. I don't want to guess, but it having a taller tire is definitely going to lower or is definitely going to lower your gear ratio some more. Um, which you'll get more mile an hour, but you're not going to get as much stuff off the line. Tomahawk it. All right, now. Yep, Mike nailed it. The 20s. There's just not enough sidewall. Yep, there's Mike jumping in again. Jumping in again. Like if you guys don't know why Body Mike, he's been in the Mopar game for a long time. You can see he was in this game back in '08. So he's been in pretty much kind of at the beginning, and he was quote me again, Mike. You were SRT4 before that, if I'm not mistaken. So he's been in the Mopar Dodge world for a long time. Has been through a lot of these cams, except for the newer stuff like Texas Speed, right? They're kind of new, but stuff from MMX, HHP, those long-standing folks that have been in the Hemi world forever as well. He's got a lot of data on a lot of their stuff. Where in the DMV area to get tuning? I tell you, I've been promoting my guy Dave. He's great, awesome tuner. You guys know how my car runs, and he runs it safe, right? So he keeps me in check. Even though I ask him to do things outside of his comfort zone, he'll bring me back into his comfort zone to keep me safe, keep the car running, keep it on the streets, and keep it on the track. Um, so look up EFI Specialties in Fredericksburg. His name's Dave Katz, is the tuner. Does a great job. You want to go a little further out, you can go to HHP, High Horse Performance in Smyrna, Delaware. They're one of the top tuners out there. Always racing their cars too, but just keep in mind these guys are all busy, so it could take you a while to get in to get your car tuned. But Thomas, that's where I would go. I would either go HHP or Dave Katz. Todd nailed it. Mike knows his stuff. Mike's been around for quite a while. What would be the best first mod to get my quarter mile times down on the back half and pick up mile an hour being a stick? Hmm, that's a good question. I don't know, Mike. You want to jump in here? Um, I mean, you know, cam, long tube headers, just the typical bolt-on stuff is going to give you give you the power that you need. Long tube headers, either go catless or high flow cats, catback exhaust, cam, lifters. Um, Nothing different than you would do for an automatic. You do the same for a stick car. Thanks, Todd. I appreciate it. With the arm flex, love it. Thanks, Todd. I appreciate it. Really do appreciate it, man. Yeah, Mike Stark is definitely in the lab, folks. He's if you don't follow Mike on Instagram, his car is coming along extremely well. Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna flip videos here for a sec. Let me find his video I did. There we go. All right. If you're not familiar with Mike's car, that's Mike's car right there. It's a stick shift car. Um, he is pretty much all out race car at this point. Um, he's finally got his engine rebuilt. He blew his prior engine because they sent him the wrong rods, in which he didn't double check before he put them in. But he didn't have the power outer rods. He had I think it was stock rods. So blew the engine. Now he got another block. Got the right rods, right pistons. Got everything back together, and I think he's pretty close to putting the motor back in the car. Yeah, Starkey. Yeah, he's coming, man. That thing's gonna be a monster once he gets it out of the garage. Yeah, Todd, you'll definitely see a difference between between the 20s and the 18s. Uh, I mean, if you don't have the 18s yet, I'd go 17s. But that's just my opinion. You can stick with 18s if you want, but I would go 17s if you could. The TR6060, I don't. I mean, 390 is the stock gears for those cars. In my opinion, I think they're great. Yeah, Mike. So I don't. I think the stock gears, 390 gears for the stick shift cars are perfectly fine for them. And Mike coming in, yep, he's doing some changes to Helby to get her back on the circuit, but they're gonna be major. They're gonna be big. All right, Bruce, I got you. Maybe I was thinking the wrong. I was thinking about the rear gears, but if you're talking about the gears inside the 6060, yeah, G-force is the way to go. That's where pretty much everybody is going to get their transmissions done for stick shift cars. Even the big high power folks are moving to the G-force transmission. And definitely do a diff brace. Yes. Anybody that adds power to these cars, I don't care if it's a 5764 Hellcat, you definitely need a diff brace. All right, Madness, BBK long tube headers, okay. Hellcat lower intake box, that'll help. Headlight intake, yep. No, definitely go with the Hellcat box. Definitely go with the Hellcat box. Um, from cold air intakes are cold air intakes, and everyone's going to make their claims. But the stock Hellcat in my car, I found the stock Hellcat airbox was perfectly fine. Or JLT might come in with the JLT. A lot of people like the JLT too. Any benefits to porting the 5.7 intake manifold? I would say there is. Uh, but if you could and you can find one, I would go with a ported 6.4 intake and get a ported, uh, ported Hellcat throttle body. Thomas, I know the 392 intakes, the 6.4 intakes are hard to find, and they are somewhat expensive. But now that MMX has the taser like thing for to run the short runners and long runners, it's a lot easier to do. But yeah, there's definitely you're definitely going to gain some from porting your manifold. Oh, you got the 373 gears. Gotcha, Bruce. Um, yeah, if you could bump to a 390, I think you might see a pretty good difference there. Yeah, Mike, swap to the 392 intake manifold. That's the first thing we jump to when people start talking about porting their 5.7. Uh, the cost and the gains you'll get, just for me, it never equaled out until I went and got the 6.4 intake. So instead of porting your 5.7, save your money, see if you can find a 6.4 intake, and then you can put that on, run it without being ported. You're going to gain significantly just because of the switch between the short and long runners. You'll gain significantly across the entire curve And then if you get that ported, you'll see even more gains. I'm trying to remember what Mod to Fame went. I think he did go with the G Force. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think he went with the G Force 6-speed transmission. Cold air intake. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but no matter what cold air intake you throw in there, I don't think you need a tune because you're not gaining that much airflow from a cold air intake. I don't now probably do a little bit better with a tune, but I don't think you need a tune when you get a cold air intake. Yeah, there's Mike. He jumped in. They all don't require a tune. Uh, yes, he did. He did run 309s in his Charger Racer X. He did have 309s. And yep, so tire size does change your effective gear ratio. So in the end, keep an eye on that when you're swapping tires and looking at rims and tire sizes and all of that. So the shorter tire, the higher the gear ratio. The taller the tire, the longer the gear ratio. I may have that backwards, but tires tire sizes do make a big difference. Because I know when I was running 26-inch tires way back when, I ran 26-inch for a little while, and my speedometer went crazy just because of the difference in gear ratio, effective gear ratio. Yeah, manufacturers are going to claim everything under the sun, um, and they're going to throw stuff on the dyno. Um, a lot of those dynos you're going to see. Again, dynos are so sketchy, right? So you could take a 5.7 without a cold air intake, run it in bad weather, come back in the fall or the spring, run it in the middle of summer on a dyno, get the numbers you want, get the terrible numbers you want because it's terrible weather. Come into spring or fall, run it again, and without even doing the CAI, you're going to gain horsepower just because of the weather, right? And it's not necessarily because of their cold air intake; it's just because the weather's better. These are some of those insider tricks that manufacturers use to try and show that their upgrade is going to give you X amount of power. Again, another reason why I don't like dynos. I don't like dynos for tuning. That's it. Comparison in power, unless you're doing something around the same time frame, the same weather, it's really hard to compare. Uh, and that's it's just the way the dynos in cars work. We all know, the hotter it is, the worse the car is going to run. The cooler it is, the better the car is going to run. Um, Canton, Ohio area. I do not, but I do know Dave is wanting to, and he's been email tuning a few people now. Dave is getting into email tuning. So Madness, if you're just doing, your basic bolt-on stuff, long tube headers, cold air intake, maybe a 6.4 intake, cam, stuff like that, uh, I would I would definitely hook up with Dave and see if he'll tune your car for you. Now, if you wind up eventually going to forced induction, uh, then I would definitely get a dyno tune. But if I don't know of any in Canton, Ohio area, but if you can't find anyone, find a good email tuner. Jay Green is a great email tuner. The Hemi Fever is a great email tuner. There's a bunch of great email tuners out there that'll get you going well on your basic bolt-on stuff. Thomas, I am running the HHP BES Stage 3 heads in my car. And yes, they are ported. Absolutely, 100%. They are ported. He did have the killer chiller from Kincaid. He absolutely did. Yep, yep. All right, there's Mike. Hey, there you go. There's someone in Ohio. I don't know where he's at in Ohio, but there's a guy that there's a guy in Ohio that can help you out. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, brother. Wide body Mike, man, throwing down the knowledge all the time. And I'm telling you, Mike's a great dude. He really is. I would have been stuck at least 3 times if it wasn't for Mike. Ooh, Bruce, I do not. Mike might know something along that lines, uh, but I have. You're getting too deep, too technical for Dawn, so I'm gonna have to pass that one on. Bruce, I think I've seen you in some of B Mason's uh, live chats as well. That's a good B Mason question. Don, what size injectors? I'm on 1050X right now. 1050X running E85. Yeah, yeah. Mike's been around. Mike's been around the block once or twice. Yes, sir, Bruce. Yeah, I am not afraid to tell you when I don't know something, and that question I have absolutely no clue. I have absolutely no clue. That's way beyond my knowledge at this point. But like I said, that's a good wide body mic. He may know, and if not him, like I said, I would try out B Mason in one of his live chats. There's another great um, resource for information is HP Tuner forums. If you get into some of those forums, I'm starting to get into some of those forums. Again, trying to gain some more knowledge, get smarter. But um, yeah, HP Tuners is another. That's another one. There's a lot of Challenger, Charger forums out there as well. You can post those type of technical questions, and someone with the knowledge can pop back with a better answer than Don could ever even dream up. Hey, there we go. What's up from Vegas? I'm getting people from everywhere now. We're in Ohio. We're in Vegas. Hey, thanks, Bruce. And again, I'm not afraid to tell you when something's out of my wheelhouse and beyond my knowledge. I'm more than happy to kind of point you in the right direction. Point you to somewhere, someone that might get you the answer. And if that someone can't get you the answer, at least they can point you probably to someone better, better to answer that question. I'd rather you get the right answer than me trying to play smarter than I am. I won't do that. I promise you that. Yeah, Bruce, logging's the way to go. If you can log it and put it up on them forums, I think you'll find some help. Whipple on a 5.7. All right, I get this question a lot. I get this question a lot. Um, if you're not hardcore into the race scene, like you're not racing professionally, uh, my opinion, and Mike may kick me in the butt later on, but my opinion, forced induction is forced induction. And really it comes down to personal preference, right? So if you want that Hellcat type of experience, go with a Whipple all day long. There's nothing wrong with going with a Whipple. There's a lot of fast cars out there that run Whipples. There's a lot of fast 5.7s out there that run Whipples. Um, yeah, I mean, again, with a Whipple, you're going to get that Hellcat, you're going to get that whine, you're going to get the Hellcat type experience. Now, with something like I have, like a Pro Charger, here I go. Centrifugal supercharger, like a Pro Charger. It's a little less Hellcatish, uh, but they create a lot of power. Same thing with turbos, right? You're not going to get that snap neck whine like a Hellcat, but at the top end, you're going to get a lot of power. So yeah, if you want the Hellcat experience, get the Whipple, 100%. You won't be disappointed. I promise you. All right, Todd. So you going to the corn? Corn's the way to go. If you have E85 in your area, it is definitely the way to go. All right, brother. All right, thinking. Thanks a lot, brother. Yeah. So Mike switched from Diablo to HP when he went to his 90 swap. Dave is going to try and do mine on Diablo. We'll see. He seems to think he can do it. He's pretty sure he can do it. But we're going to take it up there. He's going to try it on Diablo, and we're going to see what happens. Yeah, there's Mike, right? It depends on what your goals are. Yep. All right, Ryan. How does the 5.7 handle boost? I'm here to tell you it handles a lot more than people think it does, even in its stock bottom end form. So I am at stock bottom end 5.7, other than a cam, stock bottom end, and I'm running 16 pounds of boost. And I've been doing that since the beginning of the year. All of last year, it was between 8 to 10 pounds of boost, sometimes 11, depending on the weather. But I ran all of last year on 8 to 10 pounds of boost. No problems whatsoever. So I would argue the 5.7 handles boost pretty well. Again, here's Mike, right? Handles 7 to 10 easily 7 to 10. I'm probably starting to push the limits with the 15, 16, but it is in the tuning, right? Your mechanic can blow up your car, and your tuner can blow up your car, and a lot of times you'll get this. He did it. he did it. Nope, he did it. Nope, he did it. You'll get that. He went that away issue, where the mechanic will tell you the tuner did it, the tuner will tell you the mechanic did it. But yeah, definitely 7 to 10 fine. Mine ran perfectly fine all last year, running that 7 to 10, 8 to 10, and it has been fine this year so far, running 10 to 15, give or take. Fuel type and fuel system also, right? So Mike's getting deep into things here already, right? Um, but it does all go into it, right? So the more air you shove in your car, the more fuel you're going to need, and is you're definitely going to have to change your fuel system in the 5.7. It's definitely not going to keep up once you add boost. You're going to have to upgrade your fuel system. On 93, um, I didn't run very long on 93 with the Pro Charger before I switched to E85. But it ran okay. It ran fine. 7 in that 7 to 10 pounds of boost range. But like I said, it wasn't but a month or two before I switched to E85. Todd's got the point, right? Absolutely. Pro Chargers continue to keep climbing. A roots blower will eventually level off. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a Whipple. Nothing wrong with a roots, right? Again, it goes back to what Mike said is what your goals are. Uh, oh, let me go back up. I'm losing folks. You can get up into the 7,500s, but it's going to take a lot to get you there. My car still shifts at 60. I think we're at 6,500 is where my car shifts. Um, you really don't need to get up into that 7,500 horsepower range or RPMs to get the power. Uh, and madness, if you want that quick power, keep the stock bottom in. Don't worry about the cam. Go straight to a Pro Charger. Run 6 to 8 pounds of boost, and you'll be faster than a scat pack. Yeah, Todd, gas prices are ridiculous, man. They really are. It's crazy what the gas prices are nowadays. Um, Even E85, is right up there with 87, where it was, it could be a dollar and a half less than 87. So even E85 is getting more expensive than it used to be. Mike's got a point, right? Pro Charger, think of it as a belt driven turbo. That's really the only difference. Is the minuscule parasitic loss you're going to get by using a Pro Charger vice a turbo. Bruce, can you get 15 pounds of boost from Magnus and Whipple? I'm probably pretty sure you can. That's a fair question. I don't know 100% sure, but I would figure to say you could probably get 15 pounds of boost out of either one of those, by either the ATI pulley, bigger, right? The 18% pulley, and a smaller pulley up top. I'm sure you can run 15 pounds of boost. Internet to airport is terrible. Yeah, I know, right? Airport internet is pretty terrible. All right, Mike throwing some knowledge, right? So 15 psi in a roots blower is roughly 10 to 12 from like a Pro Charger. Yeah, Todd, absolutely, man. And that's all I'm trying to do out here is show that the 5.7 is not, it, doesn't have to take a back seat to anybody. Uh, we're out here running. Let's see, this one's a Hellcat, but I'm out here running with red eyes now. Um, so the 5.7 can be pretty healthy. Here goes Mike. Pro Charger is softer on the drivetrain, right? So when you look at those root style Hellcat type blowers, you are putting more strain on the drivetrain, uh, all the way from the rocker arms to the rods, all of that. You're putting a lot more pressure on all of that. Drive shaft, gears, the whole 9 yards. It's just a different way to make boost. It really is. 22 pounds of boost is healthy. That's a lot of boost. Madness. That's a question that's out of my experience, out of my knowledge. Maybe Mike can chime in on that. But running 75 RPMs in a in a Hemi is pretty high from what I've seen. Yeah, there's Mike coming in now. I wouldn't take wouldn't take that high unless you're building it to take that kind of pressure. That's I, I haven't seen anyone take it to 7,500, but I'm sure someone out there has. But like I said, mine shifts at 6,500, and I'm running low tens in good weather. Let's see, if I'm taking the cowl off to put the intercooler on, I might as well cam, then the heads are off into yeah. So the ring gap is really the thing, and I think what's happening with in my circumstance is my car's got 100, almost 113,000 miles on it. So I think some of that ring gap is already increased on its own, and I got enough ring gap to handle the boost. But I'm just speculating at this point. Yeah, Mike's got it right. No sense in regapping the rings on stock pistons. If you're already in there, just get some drop ins. Yeah, the Hellcat crank. You can also do the 6.1 crank as well. So I did find out the Hellcat crank is the same stroke as a 5.7. So keep that in mind if you want to do a Hellcat crank swap. Now the clutch and the drive. Yes, sir. All right, Todd. Thanks, brother. All right, Bruce. Bruce sticking his tongue out at Mike. Yeah, use 392 block. Yep, absolutely. Hang on one second. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, little stinker. Bean over there whining at the door. I was gonna let him in and bring him in for a second, but he ran from me. Yeah, Todd, I saw that on RT Life's channel. That'll be interesting if they do come out with a 909 Hellcat or super stock, whatever they're gonna call it. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that 909, right? Um, I, I think I would be a little skeptical because they don't want to outdo the. I don't think they want to outdo the demon yet. Um, but I mean, I think they could come out with something like RT Life was saying, come out with something at 909 and keep it slower than, keep it in the mid tens. Keep it away from, the demon numbers. But it'll be interesting to see if they do come out with something with 909. I mean, there is something to be said about sticking with the V8. There's a lot of people out there, that moved to Dodge for the Hemi V8, and it'll be interesting to see if they actually do that, and when it does come out, how popular it winds up being. there's, there's Mike throwing some knowledge again, right? He's on the stock bottom end as well. Well, not stock bottom end, but he's got It's the stock BGE block, drop in pistons and rods, coated bearings. All right, Mike going deeper into his build a little bit there, dropping some knowledge. Yeah, definitely make sure, even if you're doing a build, make sure your rings are gapped right to handle the boost that you're going to put through. Make sure you get the machine shop, or do your homework and make sure you're gapping them right. Mike dropping some knowledge on break-in oil. Yeah, I mean, you might as well use the same oil you're going to wind up using. It's probably cheaper, and right, you're definitely going to want to change it. You're going to start it, let it run, change it, run it for a little while, change it, run it up to 500 miles, change it again, and then you should be good. Yeah, yeah, you're going to get a lot of condensation with E85, so your oil may be a little grayish. Yeah, Madness, like I said, make sure you build it to handle that 7,500 shift points you're going to try and get to. Um, but like I said, I don't I haven't seen it done. I haven't seen anyone that has done it. So I'd be careful. There's Todd and Mike going back and forth about oil and different race fuels. Pro Chargers, yep. And turbos, they definitely love the high RPMs. Yeah, Madness. I tell you, the videos do not do his car justice. His car is something else to hear at the track. That's for sure. There goes Mike. Right, Mike does, because he has that mechanic background. He says he's doing it every other race weekend. I change mine every 3,000, and you guys know how much I beat on my car. And Mike always laughs at me. He's like, you should be changing your oil more than you are, and I probably should 100 absolutely be changing my oil more than I am, just to keep the car running. But I've been religious at 3,000, and the same thing for the Pro Charger. I change it every 3,000 when I change my oil. All right, Brian. There's Alabama. Man, we're getting people all over the country. We're up to 14 people watching. All right, Jeremy. Thanks, brother. Shake and bake. You know it. You know it. All right, we're catching up right on that hour point. We're about 7 minutes out. Um, so anybody in here with any last minute questions, issues they want to talk about real quick? Yeah, you know what? I just bought I just bought three right before they put that sale out. Really ticked me off. But I had to because I ran out to change my oil in my Pro Charger. Yeah, look for there's deals out there. There's a lot of deals out there. Especially around these holidays. There's always sales going all over the place. Yeah, oil samples. Mike's throwing the knowledge again. If you really want to keep abreast of what your engine is doing and if anything's going wrong with your engine samples are the way to do it. And they're not very expensive, 40-50 bucks I think, if that, to get your oil tested. And they can come back and let you know everything that's in your oil. And for the most part, oil is going to tell you what's going on in your engine, whether there's metal in there, shavings, whatever. It's going to give you. So, Bruce, oil sample. There are companies out there where they will send you a kit to where you can. I want to say you go down through the dipstick, down into the engine, draw a small sample of oil, send that sample off to them, and they will do an analysis on that oil and come back and tell you everything that's in that oil. So if there's, like I said, if there's metal shavings, water, condensation, yeah, blah 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 blah. I haven't done one yet. I know Mike has done a lot of these on his car, and he could probably tell you a little bit more about it. But it really gives you a solid indication of what's going on inside your engine when you do an oil sample and get it sent off. So madness. So there are a lot of people that confuse, the manifold being loose and ticking vice the what they call the hemi tick, which is the lifter tick. So I would argue manifold tick, especially nowadays since they fixed that problem. It's more the manifold than it is than the lifters. Yeah, so there's folks out there. There are folks out there doing like compound twin turbo TRXs. I want to say Ripatoon. I think Ripatoon is doing twin turbos on TRXs. I haven't seen any of them at the strip, but there are some fast TRXs out there. All right, Build It Motorsport. Hey, brother. Glad you made it, man. Yeah, Hemi all the way. Ah, oh, Jeremy, thanks, brother. I definitely appreciate it. You know the deal. Every single penny that goes into YouTube goes right back into Shake and Bake. But I definitely appreciate the super chat, man. I really do. Yeah, there's Mike going into the oil sample. Just like I said, go ahead and submit it. The, just you can Google oil sampling. There'll be multiple companies show up there. Just pick one of them, and they'll send you a kit, and you can have it sent off. Definitely get a different sound when you install long tubes. Promise you that, and you're gonna love it. That's whooshing. Definitely sounds like a leak. Definitely sounds like you got a leak. The best thing to do is get it up on a lift, and you got to narrow it down and find it. Uh, Back to Jeremy again. Hey, dude, I definitely appreciate it. That's awesome. Appreciate you supporting the channel. I know you've been around for quite a while as well. Yeah, long tubes. You're gonna love long tubes. I promise you that. So Bruce, it depends on your goal. Right, it goes back to Mike. Right, depends on your It depends on your goals. Right, if you want to, and especially if you're in a state that has emission standards, the SRT headers is the way to go. You'll get little bit out of those SRT headers, and I got a set if anybody wants a set. But yeah, you'll get some power out of the SRT headers over the stock ones. But you know, if you're at the track and you don't have to worry about emissions, long tubes is the way to go. Wow, that's a long time to be waiting, man. That's big coach. That's a long time to be waiting for a build, really. Um, you know, I've been lucky. I've had a lot of friends that have been mechanics, and the the folks that have done work on shake and bake are either Dodge techs or Dodge experts. Wide body Mike, he's done some work on my car as well. But I've been lucky in that I haven't had to wait as I building the plane as I'm going along, right? So it's like one build after the other, right? I just keep adding on to, not just, hey, I want everything done at once and then have to wait. So I've been lucky with that. Yep, Mike nailed it. The SRT headers are like mid shorties, mid length headers. Cooks is the way to go, man. I love my Cooks long tube headers. Yep, Bruce. Yep. All right, Jeremy. I'm gonna keep getting videos, man. Even in this terrible weather, I'm gonna keep going to the track, keep getting videos, and keep tossing them up there. Gonna get a Whipple. There you go. Yeah, just you know, you're gonna get some of those different noises when you do go, like everyone's been saying up above. You're gonna get some different noises. So just smoke test is the way to go, right? 100% smoke test is gonna tell you where the leak is at, hands down. That's the best way to do it. So Gerald, if you can get your guy to do a smoke test, that'll tell you where it's at. Yeah, Whipple, you're gonna have fun. You're gonna love it. You really are. Yeah, Mike, I appreciate you throwing yourself out there, man. Like I said, Mike is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to these Hemis. If you got a question, same thing on IG, wide body Mopar Mike. Hit him up on IG, and you know it may take him a little bit to get to you, but he'll get to you and answer your questions, or point you in the right direction to get the answer. But hey, folks, yeah, y'all know what's up, little brother. All right, thanks, Todd. I appreciate it, man. But hey, we're right at that. We're over that hour mark right now. I'm gonna try and keep these to an hour. I appreciate everyone chiming in. Mike, again, appreciate you coming in, helping me out with some of these more technical questions. Because, like I said, I'm not a builder. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a tuner. I'm just a Joe Blow, learning as I go. I am learning a lot and gaining a lot of knowledge, but there's so much more technical stuff that I don't know that maybe eventually I'll get into. But I like to point people in the right direction, vice me trying to think I'm smarter than I am and giving you some wrong answer. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for this chat. Again, I appreciate everyone supporting the channel. Jeremy, appreciate the super chat, brother. And yeah, we're gonna keep rolling. We'll get some content this weekend. We may even hook up with Incredible Hemi this weekend. Maybe get a small collab with him for a little bit, and hopefully get you guys some decent content and put some races up. And we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. Mopar, no car, you know it, brother. No problem, Bruce. But all right. Good night, APG. Thanks, brother, for tuning in. I appreciate it. You've been around for a long time as well. A lot of you guys have been around for a long time. I appreciate the support. Shake and Bake definitely appreciate the support. Uh, all right, Frank. This is the last one I'm going to answer. Uh, so that's a long list, but he is a 397 stroker with twin turbos. Uh, at a high level, that's his setup. Why it took you so long? But Frank, that's like I said, high level. That's his setup. He's a forged bottom end 397 twin turbocharge based, and it's based on a 5.7, based on a 5.7 block, but it's a 397 stroker. All right, folks, that's it for this one. I'm gonna call this one a wrap. Until next week, we'll see you then. Adios, y'all.